Hello, and welcome back to another video presented by Acuity PPM, where today I'm going to show you how to effectively use a priority matrix. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to our channel, as we've been putting out great content that you don't want to miss that will help you better manage your portfolio and your PMO. So let's get started. I like to start with the importance of prioritization, that priorities create a true north, a common understanding of what's important, that once you get prioritized, you get higher efficiency and execution success. Love this quote from Gaylord Wall of Point B Consulting. Totally agree. Priorities enable the organization to get aligned around what's most important. That's why you want to prioritize your work. It does create the true north. Portfolio management's about delivering value. Priorities help us understand the relative value of the work so we can maximize business value delivery. Now, the quote at the bottom, things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. We're going to see that with the priority matrix. So firstly, what is a priority matrix? Well, in basic terms, it's categorical prioritization. We're prioritizing work based on the type of work that it is. It's got some primary strengths. It's simple to use, it's quick, and it can be applicable to any type of work, projects and operational work. It's easy to understand because calculations are not involved, like we would have with a scoring model, which we'll come to in a few minutes. When should I use a priority matrix? So I've outlined three basic use cases. The first is if you're in an organization where there's a high volume of intake requests, project work requests that need to be evaluated. Some organizations have a lot of work coming at them that need evaluation. In those cases, the priority matrix will help you evaluate which work to do first, which work to get to later. In addition, a lot of organizations face the challenge of dealing with operational work and project work combined, and certain teams get hit by both. In one engineering organization where we used the priority matrix, we identified operational work that would be like mini projects. They might still be 20 to 40 hours, but they didn't classify as a traditional project run by a PMO. So we needed a way to compare the relative priority of operational work and project work, and the priority matrix shines in that instance. In addition, some organizations that are new to portfolio management that don't yet have a scoring model but want a simple prioritization approach may want to utilize a priority matrix. So here is a sample priority matrix, and I'll walk you through the basic dimensions. So in this instance, we're using the must do, need to do, should do, could do approach. Those are our 4 rows that highlight the relative impact of the work. And we can utilize the priority matrix and add additional columns to represent different levels of urgency. So in this case, we've got 3 columns. So we've got 4x3 matrix, we've got 12 cells, 4 levels of impact, 3 levels of urgency. And so you'd read it from left to right, top to bottom, and we've numbered the cells for convenience, numbers 1 through 12. Work that would fall into the number 1 cell is the most important. Work in cell number 12 would be the least important. And I'll walk you through some examples of how we would map the work to the priority matrix. So in this example, we have a must-do project. It's an enterprise ERP project. It maps to cell number 2 because it's an enterprise strategic project. That's its relative priority. Then we've got a need-to-do item. We want to redesign a product, and that's going to result in $1.2 million in net present value. So it maps to cell number 4, which is for high net present value requests. We've got a should do item for operational improvement. It's keep the lights on. There's a workaround already in place. And then finally, we want to change a payroll system that's about to be sunset. So it's cell number 11 falls under the could do category. So we can map the work to the priority matrix and then understand the relative priority of the work and then work according to those priorities. So what are the steps for developing a priority matrix? Well, firstly, it's important to understand what segmentation you need. Some organizations might only want 4 categories: must do, need to do, should do, could do. If you have a lot of categories of work and you want to further distinguish the relative urgency or importance, you can add additional rows and columns. The next step is to identify categories of work. How do we want to differentiate the types of work requests? That's going to differ from organization to organization. The more categories might imply more rows, cells in the priority matrix. Third, you want to map the categories of work to each of those cells. What you're effectively doing in this case is you're prioritizing that work. And that can take some time. So this can be an iterative process. You come up with an initial mapping of how you want to categorize the work and put it on the priority matrix. You'll see then that you can begin to compare different categories. Do these reflect the relative priorities, or do we need to move things around so that it fits better according to how we would prioritize work? The fourth step would be to test it out. I like the phrase run water through the pipes. Take some existing projects or some existing work requests. You can then map it out according to the priority matrix and look at it and see, does this fit? Does this feel right according to our relative priorities? One way to fix it, in some cases, certain types of work need to be broken into subcomponents. So in the example we showed previously, we've got urgent, keep the lights on work, no workaround in place. That's in the must do. But maybe there's some workarounds you can get by. And so you've got some other operational improvements to keep the lights on. There's an existing process, there's an existing workaround, therefore it's not as critical. There are ways that, like that example, to distinguish or segment work into subcategories. Finally, you want to align this with leadership. And as we just showed on how it works, it's useful to show examples of existing work requests or projects and how they would map to the priority matrix. So those are your 5 basic steps for developing a priority matrix. When you test it out, you could get some metrics like this. What percentage of the work requests fall across these basic categories? So in this example, this would show the percentage breakdown of work requests across these 4 categories of must do, need to do, should do, could do. And what we find here is that there's a lot of work requests in that could do category. That could signal that A, priority matrix is going to be very valuable because it's going to highlight that low priority work so we can discontinue it. It may also signal there's a lot of work requests that's not that valuable. We're getting a lot of requests for things that may not need to be done to begin with. Do we have more work that should fall under? Are there work requests that we need to initiate that would fall under must do, need to do categories? So this is just a simple example of testing out the priority matrix to get a visual on how the work breaks out according to these 4 categories. Okay, common question. So how would a priority matrix differ from a scoring model? We touched on this briefly. Again, the priority matrix is categorical prioritization, very simple, very straightforward, easy to put in place. A scoring model is used to do a detailed evaluation of project work according to multiple dimensions, oftentimes strategic, financial, and risk. And we can use that to come up with a very definitive rank order list of projects. We can use it to optimize the portfolio. We can create graphics and charts such as risk value bubble charts with that data. So different purpose and certainly different level of evaluation than a priority matrix. Priority matrix is good for queuing. If we have a lot of work that is piling up and we need to queue that work and we need to work according to a basic priority order, the scoring model helps us assess the relative value of a project in relation to other projects. So priority matrix can do operational and project work. Scoring models are just for projects. And I want to briefly highlight the Eisenhower matrix, because if you do a search for priority matrix, you're going to come across the Eisenhower matrix developed by President Eisenhower. It's similar but different. So it's similar in that you've got a 2x2 matrix to assign tasks, but it's different because the Eisenhower matrix is focused on task management at a personal level. How do I personally prioritize the tasks that I need to do? So you've got one category of do first or critical. These are items that are important and urgent. I need to do them right now. Other items I can schedule. They're important but not urgent. You've got others that are not that important, seemingly urgent. Can I delegate that or find someone else who can do it? And then you've got not urgent and not important, therefore probably shouldn't do it. So that's the Eisenhower matrix. I've got the link in the lower left-hand corner. If you go to eisenhower.me, they've got apps so you can help improve your own personal task management. Finally, I want to talk about Kanban in the priority matrix. And I love using the priority matrix for high volumes of work requests, but when we combine it with Kanban and work in progress limits, we get a lot of power. So this is an effective way of bringing priority matrix to manage both priorities and resource capacity in a simplistic fashion. If you're not familiar with Kanban, highly recommend go to the Acuity PPM website, go to our blogs, find the post on using the priority matrix. I've got 2 links to 2 excellent videos that will give you a tutorial on Kanban. But in short, Kanban is a simple approach to control the flow of work and making it visible to everyone. It helps move work through the system effectively and managed according to priority. And when combined with work in progress limits, we certainly supercharge our intake and queuing. So here we've got a very simple table. For those of you familiar, you can add as many columns as you want, but we've got a simple to-do, what's in work, what's done. I may have a backlog, and I've color-coded that according to our must-do, need-to-do, should-do, could-do. I've got a list of to-do items. I've got a list of items in work. And the number 5 there represents the work in progress limit, or WIP limit. That helps, that's a visual cue to show me when I've maxed out the amount of work I can do at once. That helps preserve resource capacity. It helps ensure that we're not overextending, we're not excessively multitasking. Every organization that I've ever worked in has a problem with that. More work comes on. People try to do more, which really takes away time from all the other stuff they need to do. So by applying the priority matrix, we're focused on the most important work. By applying WIP limits, we're taking into account some very general level of resource capacity so that I can focus and finish. Focus and finish. That's the mentality that you want for your organization. You want to instill a focus and finish mentality, get work done. Priority matrix lets you focus on the most important work so you deliver more value faster. So again, you can go out to the website, Acuity PPM website, to learn more about Kanban, but this is a basic overview of Kanban and the priority matrix. Very powerful. Gotta get stuff done. And then we move stuff from the to-do to done. So thank you for watching. Again, subscribe to our channel. Give us a like. Leave a comment below. Was this helpful? Are you using priority matrix? What did you learn? Appreciate it. Thank you for your time and have a great day.